Welcome, everybody, to the marketing podcast on how to dramatically increase the return you get on the marketing you have for the holiday season. Today, we're going to be talking about how to really focus on the right things at the right time. We're going to be talking about how to create your marketing budget and ultimately how to test, track, and measure all the right areas of your business. So to start with, what is marketing? Well, marketing is a lot about communication. More specifically, marketing is about leverage. And leverage is, doing ever more with ever less. It's really about taking big, audacious goals and dividing them into smaller segments and then aggressively attacking those segments. And so when you start to understand how to highly leverage your marketing, this is where we start to understand how to get the return. There's a lot of non-leveraged marketing out there, things that you have to physically be at, and they work very well. Things like networking or meeting with people individually. Those are non-leveraged marketing strategies, which work. The key is how do you take those non-leveraged strategies and turn them into leverage strategies? And then how do you take things like online and that are naturally going to be highly leveraged for you? So marketing at the end of the day has two roles. First role is communication. What are you communicating to your audience? And second, education. What are the things that they need to understand about you or your business or your industry that will help them? Most marketing companies are really, really good at advertising. We want to focus on marketing. Marketing, the difference is advertising is about brand awareness, getting people to understand we exist. Marketing is about getting a return. For every dollar out, you're getting $3, $4, $5 back into your business. That's what marketing is about. So how do you do that? You start with what's called WIFM. What's in it for me? We are as a human race, we are very selfish people. So we want to understand what's in it for me. If I see something on TV, if I see an ad, if I meet somebody, we are focused on knowing what am I going to get out of it. If you can help me emotionally connect to whatever that is, I am more willing to actually take action. So getting really, really good at WIFM, what's in it for me, and understanding how to emotionally connect becomes critical. So when we look at the fundamentals of marketing, communication, what are you communicating? How are you communicating it? More importantly, why? Why are you communicating it? Why does it matter to me, your customer, client, prospect, whatever that really might be? So now that we understand that we're focused on communication and education, and we have a high WIFM, we have a high what's in it for me, emotionally connecting. Oftentimes this comes through questions, especially when you're engaging with somebody in person. It's asking lots and lots of questions. Stop spilling out what you do. Start asking. My favorite question is, well, what do you do? And my favorite response is, well, may I use you as an example? You see, when I'm asking that question right back, what am I doing? I'm putting you in the seat now. You are mentally picturing yourself working with me. So start understanding how to help prospects emote, have an emotional connection with you and your business. So when it comes to communication, what are we communicating? What's available, what the benefits are, what to buy, how to choose, and how to buy from you. You see, once you've helped somebody emotionally connect with you or your business, you have to make it extremely easy for them to now make a purchase. If it's not easy to make a purchase or at least take the next step, they're not going to. It's too difficult. So how easy is it for people to buy from you? Or do they have to jump through hurdle after hurdle after hurdle to be able to do it? What does it actually look like? You see, most businesses really focus on the what to buy, and that's about it out of this entire list. How do you actually focus on how to help them choose what's best for them? What percentage of your customer or client base knows everything that you offer and how it'll help them solve a problem, whatever that problem is? Selling is not telling. Marketing is not telling people stuff. It's about getting them engaged. So how do you actually do that for your business becomes extremely critical. So now that we understand a baseline of marketing, now that we understand, okay, so we're focused on emotionally connecting, now we have to understand, what do we start looking at? And this is where cost of acquisition, or what it costs your business to buy a client, becomes extremely important, because what you want to do over time is reduce acquisition cost and increase lifetime value. So how do we start to do that? Well, this is where understanding how to create a marketing budget kicks in. So how do we create a marketing budget? First thing we're going to do is identify, what are we striving to go get? What's the top end that we are looking to go get? And what I'll do is I'll actually put this up here on the whiteboard. So if I click this over here, I stop sharing this, y'all should be able to start understanding what I'm walking you through. So first step is, what are we building towards? So goal, right? Oh, that didn't work. Let's try this one. So what's the goal? Whatever that is, what your goal becomes. Let's say it's $100,000 in business revenue. So if we have a goal of $100,000, if that's the goal, and I apologize because the darker marker didn't end up working. So if you have $100,000 as the goal, what's your average dollar per sale? So if your average is $1,000 and your goal is 100K, how many sales need to take place? You need 100, right? So this is going to equal 100 sales based off of your goal and what your average is. So goal of $100,000, your average sales of $1,000, how many clients do you need? You need 100. Now we want to understand what your cost to acquire that client is. So what do we start looking at there? Well, we start focusing on, okay, if I'm going to put out $1,000 in marketing dollars, and I am going to get, of that 1,000, let's say I get 100 leads. And of those leads, let's say my conversion rate is 30%. So we're going to end up with 30 new clients. 30 into the $1,000 that I invested into my marketing now gives me my cost per acquisition. So when you understand, okay, I put $1,000 out and I got 30 new clients, my cost per acquisition is about $34. So my CPA is $34. For what it's worth, to get a lead would be $10. So my cost per lead is $10. My cost per acquisition is 34. So I go, okay, so I need 100 new clients. I need 100 new clients. My cost per acquisition is $34. 34 times that 100 gives me my marketing budget. So it's pretty straightforward. My marketing budget is $3,400. And I'm going to start tracking and testing and measuring that number right there. I'm going to start understanding how each strategy affects this number. So identify your goal, identify what your average sale is, and then identify what your cost per acquisition is. When you understand your cost per acquisition, it gives you just do some little multiplication, now gives you what your marketing budget needs to be. And now we start to track and test and measure these things to make sure that they maintain and they stay consistent. And there's some things that you can do. You can increase your conversion rate to where now that lowers this number. So most businesses don't really understand this piece right here. That one right there is what most businesses need to focus on first, which is knowing, for the marketing dollars I put out, how many leads do I get and how many clients come from that number. So start there. Start tracking everything. You see, we work with a lot of business owners and they are so focused on projecting stuff that they're not actually tracking things today. So we got to start tracking things currently in their current state. So that's where we begin. So that way we can get to the point where we understand how to properly lower acquisition cost and how to properly increase lifetime value. So that's where we begin. Understanding this will be the most critical thing you do for understanding how to get the return. And for networking, if you're doing that, if you're doing those like non-leveraged things, if you're going and knocking on doors, if you're calling people, whatever that is, what's your time per hour worth? Because, okay, my dollar per hour is blank and I'm putting this many hours towards it, do a little multiplication. Now you know what your marketing investment is there, because your time is worth something. Because if you weren't investing your time into this, you'd be putting it into something else anyways. So understanding what your total marketing has been and what your return has been will help you understand how to create an effective marketing budget. You may come back and go, I need to invest $1,000 a month. You may come back and say, I need to invest $7,000 a month to hit my goal. Now you have some clarity around what you're actually doing. So once you understand your marketing budget, now we have to put it into an actual marketing plan. This is where a 10 by 10 system comes in, where you have 10 ways of bringing in 10% of your business. I was standing in front of an audience of business owners not too long ago. And what we recognized was that most people in the room had maybe 2-3 strategies for marketing. If your business only has 2 marketing strategies and one of them dries up, what happens to your business? It's gone, completely gone, because you just lost half of it. If you have 10 marketing strategies bringing in 10% of your business and one of them dries up, you still have 90% of your leads and new business coming in. This is also where you start to look at client retention, because you don't want to have, unless you are in a crazy growth mode, normally you want to have recurring business higher than new business. New business is still super important because that's how you grow. You want to understand these basic type of principles and be tracking every single one of them. So you're tracking what your marketing investment is, not marketing expense, what your marketing investment is, because you should be getting a higher return for every dollar you put out. You want to know what your cost per acquisition and cost per lead are. So that way you know, based off of your average dollar per sale and how many new clients or customers you need, here's your marketing budget. I'm going to take that marketing budget and I'm going to go identify 10 strategies. And then I'm going to identify how much of each marketing strategy gets how much of my marketing budget based off of time and actual physical dollars. So now that I have my marketing plan, I'm going to start inputting dollars towards it based off of the marketing budget we just created. And now I can start doing something with it. And then you put in a marketing dashboard that's going to track every single one of your leads. If you are in a business that does estimates or quotes or proposals, then you are tracking how many leads turned into estimates or proposals and how many proposals turned into sales. What was the value of the estimates and what was the actual final value of the sales? Was there a difference? Because oftentimes there will be. Those are the things that you're tracking to understand things like your conversion rate and whatnot. And this is where all of it starts to kind of come together. So you start when it comes to marketing. Now that you have your strategies and you have your plan, going back to what we talked about a minute ago, now it's all about communication and education and helping people emotionally connect to what you're doing per strategy. I was with a group just yesterday, actually, who's probably 80% of the room, their primary lead generation strategy is networking. And no one in the entire room had a tested and measured marketing networking script. So what happens is if you don't have a system for your networking, if that's one of your top strategies, then you're just kind of going by the seat of your pants. And you're kind of going, well, wherever the wind blows, maybe I'll go get some results today. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just go in there and not work instead of not work. When you have a tested and measured script of questions that consistently works based off of your audience, now you turn a non-leveraged marketing strategy into a highly leveraged marketing strategy. And why is that the case? Because when it's been tested and measured and you know that it works, anybody can go do it for your business now. And that's why it's so critical. So now you've taken something that's highly not leveraged and you've turned it into something leveraged. And you know, based off of all these numbers that we just talked through, what dollar investment needs to go towards that strategy in time and in dollars. And so now people can actually go start focusing on it. So when it comes to your holiday marketing, first and foremost, know your numbers so that way you can create an actual marketing budget. Then you're going to identify what's in it for me. Your prospective customer or client, what's going to be in it for me? And what's the offer? Never give discounts. We don't discount. We don't focus on becoming, they call it the race to the bottom. We're not focused on any of that. So when it comes to the communication that you have, it's about the offer, value add. Stop discounting. That's, as a business owner, you just got rid of your profit when you discount stuff. Think about that for a moment. When you discount, you just got rid of your profit. So now you're just getting busier for the sake of getting busier, which is slightly pointless. So how do you give the right value added offers? You're going to identify what's most connecting to your audience. And then you're going to put that out there. The average individual, the average customer or prospective customer is going to read 10 words. You get 10 words to help them identify if the rest of your marketing is worth looking at. That's all you get, 10 words. So what are those 10 words that you want them to be seeing? What are those 10 words that are going to help them emotionally connect to what you are doing? And then you start to set goals. And why do we set goals? Because now we have something to go achieve. Now we have something to go get. Now we can see if, when we are testing and measuring our marketing strategies, because you have 10 of them now and you are testing and measuring each one, you can start to see which ones are producing the most and which ones are not. What happens if you go to the same event over and over and over again and never get a return? Are you actually networking, or are you not working? Are you wasting your time, or are you investing your time? And it's not necessarily about that event may not work for you. It may just be that you haven't had the right questions and haven't had the right intentionality when you get there. When we talk about marketing being communication, I want you to think about this definition of communication. Communication is the response that you get. So you can be saying, I'm telling people all the time about what we do and whatnot. If no one is making a purchase, communication is the response that you get. You are not communicating the right way. What's the response you actually want to get? That's how you'll know if you're communicating properly. When marketing is about communication, it's about emotionally helping people connect, understanding the problem you're going to solve. If the response you're getting is not what you want, change the message, because it's not communicating with your audience. So those are the fundamentals of marketing. Don't waste your money. Unless you have $1 million sitting in the bank, don't waste your money on advertising. Don't waste your money on brand recognition. I invest your money into actual marketing that's going to give you a return. Because until you have amazing cash flow, your business can't afford brand awareness. It needs people to understand what's in it for them so that they actually make a purchase. Everyone in the world can know your brand. If no one's buying it, you don't have a business. The top three reasons why businesses end up failing is there's either not a demand, lack of cash flow, or the wrong team. So when it comes to the marketing, we're really focusing on making sure there is a demand and making sure your cash flow is amazing. Those are the fundamentals to focus on for your holiday season coming up and for all marketing moving forward. And you are going to be tracking, testing, and measuring these numbers every single day, every single week. For high production businesses, this is a daily, maybe even like twice a day or hourly thing that you are checking. For businesses that have a slower sales process, this is something you're tracking weekly or monthly. Start tracking, testing, and measuring it today. Understand what your average dollar per sale is. Understand what your cost to acquire or buy a new customer is. So that way you can create an actual marketing budget. And then put in place 10 strategies with the right WIFM, with the right emotion, with the right offer to implement. That is how you get the results from your holiday marketing versus just putting stuff out there and seeing what shows up. And for bigger businesses, you have people in place to do this for you as the owner. It's not about the owner necessarily doing it. It's about somebody in the business doing it. And that's where we begin. So you have some action items on making sure you know your numbers. You have some action items on identifying what's in it for the prospective customer or client. You have action items on identifying what the offer and the 10 words you're going to use to get them highly engaged with you, what those are. You have an action item on starting to track and test and measure every single one of these things. And then you have an action item on taking non-leverage marketing strategies and start creating systems to turn them into leveraged marketing strategies for you and your business. I'm Dr. Michael Hartley. I'm here to elevate your business, enhance your lifestyle, and start taking action on this stuff immediately. Don't waste time. Don't say, I'll get to it over the weekend or on Monday. Start right now. That's the doing part that leads towards results. Otherwise, you just wasted your time listening to this if you're not going to take action. I'll see you next time.